fellow music fans, welcome back to Psychology of Rock. If you're new to the channel, my name's Nina, and today I am so excited because I'm attempting my first lyrical analysis of BAND-MAID. And the song I'm going to start with is AZURE, which is of course off the 2019 album Conqueror. Now, I absolutely love this song, both vocally and musically, but it really is the lyrics that completely blow my mind. And I think, unfortunately, since BAND-MAID primarily sings in Japanese, those of us who don't speak the language, like myself, can often miss the full depth and meaning of their songs, which is really, really sad because so many of them are pure poetry. But once I started actually taking the time to look up these translations, it was like a whole new layer of their music opened up to me. The words are so beautifully written and they add this profound emotional complexity to their songs, which are already insanely impressive to begin with. Now, I do want to mention here that all of these songs seem to have several different translations when you look them up. I think that even native speakers don't always agree on their precise interpretations because languages in general don't always line up 100% to begin with. And sometimes they're just using plays on words that we don't always catch, or they are using something more like poetry that we're taking literally. So for these reasons, it does make it a little bit more difficult to have an accurate analysis. And on top of that, Miku is just a really creative and clever writer. She doesn't always say things directly. She'll say things in a more flowery way that's extremely open for interpretation. And because of that, I would love to hear if you end up seeing the song differently and if these words really have a completely different meaning for you. Now, I read in an interview with the band that Konami was inspired to write the music for AZURE as a tribute to the late Momoko Sakura, who was the artist responsible for her favorite manga, Koji Koji. She apparently did not tell Miku in advance the inspiration for the song, but ended up feeling like the lyrics were perfect because they encouraged someone who was in sorrow, like she was when Momoko passed. But other than that, I have not heard or read any interpretations of the song. I don't even know the story behind the title, so I am going into this completely blind. And so this really is just my personal take after reflecting on the lyrics, and I am in no way attempting to speak for the band. And of course, with any work of art, there can be multiple valid meanings and interpretations, including whatever the song means to us personally. But let's just go ahead and dive in, and I want to start with what I think the title could mean because I think it's actually extremely poignant and profound in context of the song. Now, to my understanding, the word AZURE is not in and of itself Japanese. It may still be used in the language somehow, but I believe it's actually a French mistranslation of an Arabic word that refers to the color of a clear blue sky. As a title, I think it could represent ideas like peace, clarity, or hope, which would align perfectly with the recurring themes in the song. Overall, I think the lyrics are about overcoming a challenge and persevering through difficult times. So I think the title is a beautiful metaphor for the calm after the storm, or the clear sky after all the clouds have passed. So already just a really clever way to start the song. But let's go ahead and look at the lyrics, and I am using translations by Kafka and Dia, but I also have a direct literal translation of the actual words. But again, please keep in mind that it's still not going to be exact unless we understand Japanese, which I definitely do not, but I am going to try my best. So the first lines are, freely anticipated, arbitrarily swings between joy and sorrow. With that simple way of thinking, don't call it hope. So firstly, it seems like she is speaking to someone directly and giving them advice on how to get through a difficult time. It also sounds like she is kind of talking about the unpredictability of emotions, which can sometimes swing from happiness to sadness without any kind of clear reason. To me, the last two lines suggest that she's pointing out their naive or simplistic view, and she feels that that shouldn't be confused with having true hope because she feels like it's a lot more complex than that. She goes on to say, I can't understand that expression. It doesn't portray sadness at all. The truth is that you're the only person I want on the spotlight. I think these lines are really interesting. Maybe she is trying to say that she feels like they're hiding their emotions because she knows they're going through a hard time, but their face isn't really showing it, and she just wants them to be real with her. I think the line about the spotlight is her telling them that they're the only one she wants to focus on, that they have her full attention, and she's willing to give them everything to try to help them out of this. So here we see that this is a very important person to her, and that maybe she even has some unspoken feelings about them. She goes on to say, take a step forward, though the first step is difficult, isn't it? Determining what kind of date will be is entirely up to you. I love these lines because she's encouraging them to move forward, but she's also acknowledging that she knows it might be a little bit hard at first. She's also reminding them of their personal agency, telling them that they do have the ability to take control of their lives and their emotions. It's like she's trying to break them out of victim mentality. Such a great line. And she seems to continue on with this theme in the next phrase that says, stop looking down. Sighing won't change anything. I can relate, though only a little. That kind of mood, a light can shine on it. So here she's clearly trying to be sympathetic, but she's also letting them know that just kind of dwelling on their negativity all the time is never going to help anything. She's really saying that even though she understands how they're feeling, she also thinks it can be transformed because she thinks that darkness can always be illuminated. Now for the next part, I'm going to use the more literal translation because I actually think it is a little bit more impactful. So keeping that in mind, she says, even on days dyed in red, hiding in clouds that seem to burst into tears, stare and get together, even if you can't reach. So here we see another reference to color. I think that red could be symbolizing pain or anger. So maybe she's describing days that are filled with these intense emotions and how easy it is to focus on the negative. I love the line, hiding in clouds that seem to burst into tears. I think it's such a beautiful way of saying that we can get stuck in those rainy days when our emotions feel overwhelming and the pressure is just kind of building and building until we're ready to pour it all out. And what an incredibly expressive way to convey that. And after that, I think she's basically telling them to pause and to confront their emotions, even though everything still seems impossible. Now, there is a lot of discrepancy in the translation of the next few lines, but I think the basic gist of it is, no matter how much you keep praying, things don't go as planned because there are days like that. So just accept it, keep your head up, and let's smile away. Clear blue pastel colors, thank you and I'm sorry. Tell me, paint the future. I think here she's just kind of getting real with them and telling them that they have to learn to be resilient because not everything is under our control and sometimes things do happen that we never would have wanted. She's saying that we need to try to smile anyway and focus on all the good that lies ahead after this storm passes. I think the line, paint the future, is her way of saying to create the path forward for yourself, to try to make it what you want it to be instead of getting stuck in the past. She goes on to say, there's still tomorrow and the day after it. Don't forget, I'll always be with you. So she's basically saying, yes, this does suck now, but it's not your final destination, and you don't have to go through this alone. I'm always going to be here to try to help you through it. In fact, she continues with, it doesn't end there. Not yet. Take a step forward, though the first step is difficult, isn't it? Determining what our fate will be is entirely up to you. So this is really just a variation of what she told them earlier when she was reminding them that no matter how tough things are, that ultimately is the choices that we make that's going to determine our final outcome and how we feel about things. I think that is extremely true, and it's something that we can definitely forget when we're in the middle of something. When we're overwhelmed by emotions or life, we can just feel stuck, like nothing we do is going to make a difference. So I think these lines really are powerful, and I absolutely love how she ends the song. She says, stop looking down, keep your head up and face forward. I won't comment anything. The wind will do the pushing. Now, I do want to mention here that some translations actually have these last lines as saying, I'll be the wind on your back, or I'll push your back with the wind, which I think is probably a lot more in alignment with what she was trying to convey. And I also think it's a lot more of an uplifting ending to the song. When someone uses the metaphor of having the wind at your back, the connotation is that you have favorable conditions that are making things easier, or that you have some kind of support, which I definitely think she's suggesting. So given this, I think she's just kind of saying in these final lines not to look behind you, that the past is the past, and to focus on the bright future that's ahead. And once again, reminding them that she is going to be right by their side. So I think in a nutshell, this song is just beautifully saying that while we can't always control what happens to us, we do have power to decide how we respond and how we shape our future. We just have to take the first step and embrace uncertainties and trust that the storm will pass. This is a song that definitely relates to my life right now, and I think it's just such an incredible example of Miku's creativity and her ability to express complex emotions in such a poignant and relatable way. I think in so many of her songs, she does an amazing job of blending vulnerability and strength, which is something that really resonates with me. She doesn't shy away from expressing the raw, honest emotions that we often try to hide, whether it's sadness or fear. But at the same time, there's always this undercurrent of resilience and empowerment in her lyrics. Just really incredible writing. So those are my thoughts on AZURE, but as always, I would love to hear yours, so please leave them in the comments down below. Please also let me know what you'd like me to analyze next. I want to thank you so much for being here today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video.